people are.
Yeah.
It's like if you watch like Game of Thrones, for the first like half of the season, you have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
But if you stick with it, eventually you get it. Maybe you go back and watch those first 6 episodes again.
Did you
That
watch
makes
Game
way
of
more
Thrones?
sense. I did.
Okay, good. Did you like it?
Loved it, and then just like everybody else, the ending made me like I was like, this sucks so hard that it ruined the entire series for me.
Yeah, but you know, just let me just add this though. It's the pressure. I mean, when you have a cultural show like that, that's a phenomenon, right? And the globe is watching it, right? I can't imagine being in the writer's room, whatever, and just trying to figure out, because you have so many different voices as well. I'm sure HBO, maybe they don't give notes probably because the show's so big and that they respect the showrunners, but you would have to think that there's just like months of people just together on a board trying to figure this out and people arguing about certain things, right? Because it's not like there's one guy like, you know, Aaron Sorkin that's going, you know, my word, this is it. This is the final, this is it, right? I'm sure there's voices in there. So I think it was inevitable that it was going to be bad.
I mean, it was inevitable that it would be a kind of a letdown considering everything that had been going on. I mean, endings are extremely tough to pull off. But this was, I mean, it was almost a slap in the face. They just kind of like, let's just get this over with.
Oh, right.
That I think upset people.
Yeah, here's another thing. The problem is there. It's like I'm not comparing it to the show Lost, but the show Lost had they would every season they would bring up these new things, right? Like the polar bear or some wind or whatever it might be. The fucking and there was just you just knew as a viewer, oh, they're not going to be able to explain half of this shit.
Well, when the whole thing is like, there's going to be a twist, we're going to explain it in the end. And when people figure it out, when everyone's like, it's purgatory, they're in purgatory, right? And they're like, no. And at the end, like they're all sitting in a church together. You're like, this is fucking purgatory. Like, what you guys lied to us. If you mess up a twist like that, it's really, it really ruins everything.
Yeah, it does. But the voyage, but how about this? What about, is an analogy where, you know what I mean? Like they say, you know, it's about the journey, not the end.
I like to say when it comes to Game of Thrones, I'll remember the Red Wedding. I'll remember, you know, the mountain versus the viper. I'll remember those things that I loved about it, but I would not go back and watch.
Battle of the Bastards.
Oh, what? I just rewatched Hard Home. You remember Hard Home?
No.
Hard Home was when Jon Snow was up there with the wildlings, right? And he's in some fishing village or whatever, and they have all the dragon glass and stuff, right? The giants there, right? And they're trying to get all the wildlings onto these little boats,
Yes,
right?
yeah, that was great.
And all of a sudden, on the cliffs, right, they show the guys, and then they're falling. What a fucking episode!
I remember I was at like a party, like a friend's house was like 10 people, and everyone's getting ready to leave, and they're like, "Actually, we heard tonight's episode of Game of Thrones is supposed to be awesome. Do you want to watch it?" And we got stoned, and for the next like hour and a half, we were just like completely zoned in, blown away. Like, that was maybe one of the best experiences of the show.
Yeah, even with you and your family, we would on Sundays get together.
And when we went on a family vacation to
Hawaii? We're in Hawaii.
we all crammed into one room.
Yeah.
And we were screaming. Remember that?
Oh yeah. And I remember going out
celebrating.
on the balcony of the hotel and just like, you know what I mean, pondering about it and analyze with my cigarette. You know how I do? I look out in the sky and I just sometimes I'll go, wow. You know what I mean? To myself. You know what I mean? What a great show, man! And there's not another show like that right now where it's a cultural, where everybody watches it.
Yeah, that was the big part of the community, that you had to watch it, even though everything's on demand and streaming now, you had to watch it right away because there were articles published immediately. You wanted to read and see things. You had to talk about it. But yeah, that's missing.
Also Twitter too. Twitter was crazy. You couldn't turn on Twitter. You know what I mean? There's just no way. But wow, what a fucking.
I miss it.
And also, you also understood why. What's the Jon Snow's real name?
He's a Targaryen.
No, the actor.
The
actor's not a fucking Targaryen.
It's not Kit Harington.
Kit Harington.
Harington,
Oh, it is?
Kit Harington.
Yeah.
When he got really depressed when the show was over.
Yeah.
You can understand why as an actor. I would never want to. Would you ever want to be on a show like that?
A show like that, yes, but I understand how tough it would be. Like I've talked to people who have acted. Like I had friends who were in that movie, the King Kong one, the new one, Skull Island.
Yeah. Oh.
And then like we were just fucking stuck in Vietnam for like a year and a half. And the movie's 2 hours long. So like, why do we have to be there that long? That would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
You know, wearing a backpack and pretending to be a military guy for that long would drive me nuts.
Well, I have 2 lines, and I leave for Hungary next week. for 6 weeks. I have 2 lines. And I go, how many days are shooting? Maybe 1 or 2. I go, I got to be there for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
You know, for 2, and then the whole time I know me, I'm going to be thinking about those 2 lines.
Yeah.
I'll just be laying in bed, just saying the lines over and over again. And then when it's actually go time, it's going to be completely gone.
I don't